Andrew Tate is so attention-seeking that he's resorted to Holocaust denial. He's trying to subtly deny the Holocaust, but it's very clear what he's trying to say. I'm going to read the tweet he just posted, and then I'm going to debunk it. If they lied to us about Gaza and Israel, and lied to us about Ukraine, and lied to us about Libya and Syria and Iraq, and lied to us about Vietnam, and lied to us about Korea, if they lied to us about every single war, and why it really happened, and who the good guys and bad guys were, do you think they lied about World War II? I mean, history is written by the victors, no? I'm just asking a very simple question. Do you think the version they've told you is the truth? Do you care enough to find out? Considering World War II was such a large cultural event, it's still used to this day to psyop the populace. Bad guy equals Nazi. I think you should at least understand why the war really happened. This is insane conspiratorial and anti-Semitic rhetoric. So first of all, when he says they, he's referring to the West. So he's saying, they lied to us about Gaza and Israel, they lied to us about Ukraine. Now he's very anti-Ukraine, he supports Russia more, just like most neo-Nazis. So he's implying that the Western propaganda is lying to make you believe that Ukraine's actually the good guy, when in reality, Russia, the one committing genocide, is actually the good guy. And lied to us about Libya and Syria and Iraq. Yes, they did lie about Iraq, they definitely did. They lied that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, they lied that Iraq was involved in the 9/11 attacks, but they didn't lie about Libya and Syria. With Syria, he's referring to the chemical weapons that the Syrian dictator has used against his own civilians. A lot of fascists and communists deny that Syria has been massacring its own people with chemical weapons just because Syria is anti-America, so we've got to be anti-America, even if that means denying war crimes. And lied to us about Vietnam, and lied to us about Korea. Now when people say, oh, the West is lying to you about Korea, they're trying to say that North Korea isn't actually a bad guy like America claims it is, and that North Korea is actually a good guy and is trying to protect itself from imperialism. So anyone who says lied to us about North Korea is basically a North Korean sympathizer. Someone who doesn't have a problem with North Korea starving their population, putting their population into slavery, and wanting to invade and destroy South Korea. If they lied to us about every single war, which they didn't, they lied about Iraq, but that doesn't mean that they've lied about every single war, and why it really happened, and who the good guys and bad guys were, do you think they lied about World War II? So obviously what he's saying here is that, oh, well, the Western propaganda wants you to think that the Nazis were the bad guys. But, I mean, if they lied about these other wars, then maybe the Nazis weren't the bad guys. Maybe that's just Western propaganda. The thing is, it's not just Western propaganda. The main country the Nazis were at war with was the Soviet Union, Russia, one of the most anti-Western countries in the world. The Soviet Union was fully anti-Hitler and anti-Nazi. Well, actually at first they supported the Nazis, but from 1941 the Soviets were like big enemies with the Nazis, and to this day Russia claims to be anti-Nazi even though Nazis are quite influential in Russian politics. But the point is, it's not just a Western claim that the Nazis were the bad guys. The communist countries of Eastern Europe during the Cold War, who were very anti-Western, were also anti-Nazi. So it's not just the West who's anti-Nazi, bro. But he's suggesting that the Western media has lied to you to make the Nazis seem like the bad guys. I'm just asking a very simple question. Do you think the version they've told you is the truth? Do you care enough to find out? Does he care enough to find out? Has he actually researched anything about the Holocaust? Has he seen the mountains of evidence of the Holocaust? He probably hasn't. But then he's claiming, oh, well, if you did research, you might actually find the truth about the Holocaust. There is more than enough evidence to prove that the Holocaust happened. He's giving no evidence for why this genocide didn't take place. He's just trying to provoke skepticism, like, maybe they have lied to us about this, Considering World War II was such a large cultural event and is still used to this day to psyop the populace, bad guy equals Nazi. So he's claiming that the West has used propaganda to make you believe that bad guy equals Nazi, and there's no nuance here. You know, the Nazis are just always bad, no exceptions, Nazis evil. But the enlightened Andrew Tate knows better. He knows that there was lots of nuance in the beliefs of the Nazis. I think you should at least understand why the war really happened. This is ridiculous. He's saying you should at the very least understand what Hitler's intentions were. Why did Germany really start World War II? Not enough people know why Germany really started World War II. Maybe you should research that more. Does this not look like he's trying to justify World War II? He's trying to justify what the Nazis did. He's like, you should understand why Germany invaded Poland and started World War II. There's no justification. Hitler made it very clear why he started World War II. He wanted to expand Germany by colonizing Eastern Europe. He wanted Europe to be dominated by Germany. He wanted to exterminate all the Russians, Ukrainians, Polish people, Jews, Romani people, gays, and wanted to maintain this delusional idea of pure, white, ethnic German superiority. There's no nuance or justification in Germany's actions. This is like when people try to justify what Russia's done in Ukraine. Russia literally started a war, invaded Ukraine illegally, bombed the country to shit, killed 40,000 civilians, abducted the children, destroyed the schools and hospitals, put people in concentration camps, and people try to justify it by saying, oh, well, do you know why Russia really invaded Ukraine? Oh, the Western media doesn't want you to realize that Ukraine is actually bad, and Russia was fully justified in starting the war of aggression. You can't justify imperialist wars of aggression and expansion where you steal land from other countries and try to wipe out the populations there. There is no justification for why the war started. What's the justification? Oh, Germany felt mistreated after World War I because they had to pay reparations after murdering millions of people during the war. Germany was a sore loser who couldn't deal with the fact that it had to be punished after what it did during World War I and wanted to get revenge on Europe by killing all of the evil Jews who were definitely behind all of this and killing all the Russians and Ukrainians and Polish people in order to take their land for the pure German race to repopulate and resettle. It was literally one of the worst atrocities and human rights abuses and war crimes ever committed in recorded history. It's the clearest example of imperialism, colonialism, and genocide. But nope, Germany apparently had some sort of justification for starting World War II, and, Hitler was misunderstood, and people don't consider enough how Germany felt, and both the far left and the far right, like Andrew Tate, are obsessed with just hating the West and attacking America for everything it does. Some of them are so desperately anti-Western that they've resorted to supporting Hitler or justifying Nazi Germany just because Nazi Germany was anti-Western. That's how crazy the anti-Western movement is, that they resort to supporting genocidal, totalitarian dictatorships like Russia, North Korea, China, Syria, and now Nazi Germany. He's so anti-Israel, which is justified because Israel is committing mass murder, but he's become so anti-Israel and so anti-Jewish that he's now trying to deny / question the Holocaust / justify the actions of the literal Nazis. This is why it's so important to base your opinions on governments purely on their actions. Is that country colonizing other countries? Is that country a totalitarian dictatorship? Is that country doing genocide? That kind of thing is how you should decide how to hate a government. Not based on, oh, well, this government that is one of the worst human rights abuses in the world, well, they're anti-America and I hate America, so therefore I shall support North Korea and Syria and freaking Nazi Germany. Some people on social media have literally been saying things like Hitler was right and, oh, now I see why they did the Holocaust. And it's insane. Yes, the Jewish state is currently massacring thousands of children in Gaza, which is a war crime. It's illegal. But you don't respond to a genocide being committed by Jews by saying, I support the genocide that was done against the Jews. Like, what? Are you against genocide or not? What are you against? Are you just against Jews and Westerners, or are you against genocide? Because if you're against genocide, you should be opposing the Holocaust, dude. Not just using this tiny brain logic of, oh, well, the Jews are mass murdering Palestinian civilians, so therefore, Hitler killed Jews, maybe that wasn't such a bad thing. Like, try to actually have morals, please. Don't just base your entire personality on, I hate America, and I support anyone who hates America, even if they commit genocide and do colonization. So yeah, Andrew Tate is clearly trying to join the Nick Fuentes, Kanye West crowd of neo-Nazis. And if I were you, I would completely boycott Andrew Tate at this point. Yes, you might think he has some good life advice for men and being tough as men or whatever, but that is not enough to justify supporting this man when he is promoting Holocaust denial like this. I'm generally very against cancel culture, and for the most part, I'm a free speech absolutist. But like, if there's one exception I would make, it would have to be the Nazis and the Holocaust. These are very dangerous views, and Elon Musk had better kick him off of Twitter. Call me an authoritarian all you want, but Holocaust denial is not something that a 21st century society should have any tolerance for at all.